Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our rationalization lecture. And in this session, we'll focus on 5 questions about the muscular system. And muscular system is one of the most important areas in animal anatomy and physiology. So for each question, we will identify the correct answer and more importantly, rationalize why the other options are incorrect. So this way, you will be able to understand yung logic behind every answer, which makes it easier to recall during the licensure exam. So let's start with question number 1. Which type of muscle is under voluntary control? A. Smooth muscle. B. Skeletal muscle. C. Cardiac muscle. Or D. Involuntary muscle. I repeat the question, which type of muscle is under voluntary control? A. Smooth muscle. B. Skeletal muscle. C. Cardiac muscle. Or D. Involuntary muscle. The correct answer here is letter B. Skeletal muscle is controlled by the somatic nervous system, which allows voluntary actions such as walking, chewing, standing, and any voluntary movement. Now, let's take a look at this very important table now that compares the 3 main types of muscles or muscle tissues. We have the skeletal muscle, the smooth muscle, and the cardiac muscle. So for the skeletal muscle, these are muscles that are attached to bones. They are under voluntary control, meaning we can consciously decide when to move them, like walking, chewing, or lifting something. Under the microscope, the skeletal muscles appear striated. When we say striated, they have alternating light and dark bands because of the organized arrangement of actin and myosin filaments. And functionally, skeletal muscles are responsible for body movement, for posture, and even heat production. So for examples, when animals shiver, kapag giniginaw sila, these skeletal muscles generate heat to maintain body temperature. Next, we have smooth muscles, which are found in the walls of internal organs such as intestines, uterus, and blood vessels, and many others, kidney, liver. These smooth muscles are involuntary, which means they work automatically without our conscious control. You don't tell your stomach to digest, or you don't tell your blood vessels to constrict, or the animals won't tell its stomach to digest. Its abomasum to release enzymes, etc. Okay, so it happens on its own. The movement of smooth muscles happens on its own. And under the microscope, smooth muscles are non-striated, meaning to say they lack the visible bands or the banded appearance, such as this. So this is the appearance of smooth muscles under the microscope. This is the skeletal muscle. So you see here that skeletal muscles are striated. They have visible light and dark bands. For smooth muscles, they are non-striated. They lack the banded appearance of skeletal muscle and they look smooth and uniform. And their function is to produce slow, sustained contractions, which are very important for moving internal substances, such as food, through the digestive tract, or blood through the blood vessels. Okay? And then finally, we have cardiac muscle, which is found only in the walls of the heart. So it is also involuntary, meaning it contracts automatically. We do not consciously control our heartbeat, correct? So microscopically, cardiac muscle is striated and also branched, as you can see in the illustration. And it also has intercalated discs. So yung intercalated discs na nakikita ninyo dito is or are specialized connections that help yung synchronize yung heart contractions. So yung main function ng cardiac muscle is to produce rhythmic contractions that pump blood throughout the body, consciously and tirelessly from birth until death. Next, question number 2. What is the basic functional unit of a muscle fiber? A. Actin. B. Myosin. C. Myofibril. Or letter D. Sarcomere. I repeat the question. What is the basic functional unit of a muscle fiber? A. Actin. B. Myosin. C. Myofibril. Or letter D. Sarcomere. The correct answer here is, of course, letter D, sarcomere. Sarcomere is the smallest structural and functional segment or unit of a muscle fiber that can actively contract and generate force. Why not actin, not myosin, and myofibril? Because actin is just a filament protein within the sarcomere. So if you look at this illustration, we have here the entire sarcomere, and then the entire sarcomere within a myofibril, and then part of the sarcomere is the actin, which is the thin filament protein, and the myosin, which is the thick filament protein. So contraction cannot happen with actin alone. The same way as contraction cannot happen with myosin alone. Okay? So actin is not the correct answer and myosin is not also the correct answer. So because they cannot contract alone, the actin and the myosin. For the myofibril, myofibril is a chain of many sarcomeres which are arranged in series. So it's basically larger than a sarcomere. So since it's larger than a sarcomere, it's not a basic unit. It's not considered a basic unit. Because when we say basic unit, basic referring to smallest unit that can contract in this context. Okay? So the answer here is sarcomere. Question number 3. Which protein in muscle is responsible for the power stroke in contraction? I repeat the question. Which protein in muscle is responsible for the power stroke in contraction? Is it letter A, actin, B, myosin, C, troponin, or letter D, tropomyosin? Which protein in muscle is responsible for the power stroke in contraction? A, actin, B, myosin, C, troponin, or letter D, tropomyosin? The correct answer is letter B, myosin. Myosin is a motor protein. So if we are to look at this illustration, so we have here the entire sarcomere, which consists of the actin and myosin filaments. These are protein filaments. And if you are to zoom in, kumbaga, if you are to zoom in, we have myosin heads. And these myosin heads binds to actin. Hydrolyzes ATP. When we say hydrolyzes ATP, ATP binds with water to produce energy. And energy is needed in order for the myosin heads to bind to the actin. And then pivots forward in a movement called the power stroke. When there is power stroke, the actin filaments are pulled inward. Okay? So yung power stroke na yon, or yung attachment of the myosin heads or the binding of the myosin heads with the actin generates the force for contraction. So it's just like pulling a rope. So imagine myosin as the hand that pulls the rope and actin is the rope. So myosin and this is the actin. That is how the myosin heads bind to the actin. But of course, before the myosin heads can bind to the actin, what it needs is energy. And for energy to be released, it needs hydrolysis. Hydrolysis of ATP or binding or addition of ATP with water, producing adenosine diphosphate and phosphate ion plus the release of energy. And tong energy na to gagamitin for contraction. Okay? So yung pulling motion of the myosin heads. Okay? Yung pulling motion na yan ay kumbaga yan yung tinatawag na power stroke. So why are the sorry, it should be actin. No? Why are the actin, troponin, and tropomyosin not responsible for the power stroke? Because actin is the structural filament that provides binding sites, meaning to say it provides the track for myosin heads but does not generate movement. Troponin is a regulatory protein that binds calcium and shifts tropomyosin to expose the actin sites. Okay? That means it allows contraction of the muscle, but that does not produce force. We need force in order for power stroke to happen. Okay. Next, tropomyosin. It's another regulatory protein. It's a long thread-like protein that lies over actin's binding sites, blocking them when the muscle is at rest. Ibig sabihin, it blocks the actin sites during relaxation. It controls contraction but does not perform yung pulling action. So these actin, troponin, and tropomyosin, all of them are proteins, but they do not have motor activity. Only the myosin have the motor activity. It's a motor protein, meaning to say it's the actual motor. It creates the movement. Okay. Next, question number 4. Which mineral is essential for muscle contraction by binding to troponin? A. Calcium. B. Magnesium. C. Potassium. Or letter D. Sodium. I repeat the question. Which mineral is essential for muscle contraction by binding to troponin? A. Calcium. B. Magnesium. C. Potassium. Or letter D. Sodium. So if you were observant enough earlier, meron kayong nakita sa previous slide, the answer is calcium. Calcium ions are released from the sarcoplasmic reticulum when a muscle fiber is stimulated. What happens is that calcium binds to troponin, which shifts to tropomyosin, exposing actin's binding sites. This then allows myosin to bind and generate the power stroke or the pulling motion we earlier referred to. Why not magnesium? Because magnesium is a cofactor for ATP hydrolysis. When we say cofactor, it's a helper molecule needed by enzymes. So required yung magnesium for ATP hydrolysis at the myosin head ATPase. Kung walang magnesium, ATP or energy currency of the cell cannot be efficiently broken down for energy. There's no energy in the body without magnesium. Okay? So magnesium does not directly trigger contraction, but it only supports energy use after contraction is initiated by calcium. Why nag-potassium? Because potassium helps in repolarization of membranes after nerve impulses. When we say repolarization, it's the resetting of the cell membrane's electrical charge after merong nerve impulse. So during depolarization kasi, yung cell, it becomes more positive on the inside. So mas maraming positive charge sa loob ng cell. Kaya, potassium flows out. Umaalis yung mga potassium. Potassium flows out to restore yung negative resting state ng cell. And then, this prepares yung muscle for the next naman na nerve impulse. But, potassium does not directly start contraction. It only helps in repolarization because potassium moves out of the cell to restore the negative resting state. Why not sodium? Because sodium creates depolarization naman in action potentials. When we say depolarization, um, it is when the inside of the cell becomes more positive as sodium rushes in. Okay. So depolarization or sodium causes or creates depolarization when inside of the muscle cell becomes more positive, as you can see here, as sodium ions rushes into the cell. And when sodium ions rushes into the cell, this initiates an action potential. When we say action potential, it's a rapid electrical signal traveling along the muscle fiber. And when sodium starts the signal, calcium is the one that directly triggers contraction, no, at the myofilament level. So just a quick summary of this uh, rationalization for this question item. Sodium starts the signal or depolarization, and then potassium resets the signal. Magnesium helps ATPase or the enzyme for the hydrolysis to happen to use energy, and calcium is the main actor, kumbaga, because it unlocks contraction by binding to troponin. And then question number 5, a horse shows muscle tremors and weakness due to low blood calcium. What condition is this? A. Azoturia. B. Laminitis. C. Milk fever. Or letter D. Tetanus. I repeat the question. A horse shows muscle tremors and weakness due to low blood calcium. What condition is this? A. Azoturia. B. Laminitis. C. Milk fever. Or letter D. Tetanus. The correct answer here is letter C. Milk fever. So I did not use so any animal can be used here, but I found this perfect picture to illustrate milk fever, not because it's a dairy cattle, but because dairy cattle require higher calcium, correct? Because they produce or they have higher milk production. So going back, milk fever is the common name for parturient paresis. Okay, so parturient paresis came, or the meaning of parturient paresis is parturient meaning about to give birth or just gave birth, and paresis means weakness or partial paralysis. So basically, it's a metabolic disorder caused by hypocalcemia, meaning to say there is low calcium level in the blood. And it can be parturient paresis can also be called simply as weakness around calving because it happens around calving when calcium demand for colostrum and also milk suddenly increases. So if there is low calcium, this impairs muscle contraction because calcium is very important. As we learned from the previous question, no, calcium is very important or an essential mineral for muscle contraction to happen. So if there is no calcium in the blood, what happens is it impairs muscle contraction. Walang mangyaring muscle contraction. Or pwede rin na may impair, meaning there is failure in muscle contraction, which leads now to tremors, or pwede ring weakness, or pwede ring paralysis, and in severe cases, recumbency. Okay? So, once again, milk fever. Kaya siya tinawag na milk fever because it occurs around calving or around parturition, especially for animals that require higher demand or higher amounts of calcium for colostrum and milk for their offspring. Okay? So what about the others? Ano naman yung tinatawag nating azoturia? When we say azoturia, this is also called tying up. This is caused by glycogen breakdown issues leading to muscle stiffness and not hypocalcemia. So ibig sabihin, it's a muscle disorder also, but it is linked to glycogen metabolism problems. That causes stiffness, pwede rin dark urine, but not hypocalcemia. Okay? So ang cause is uh, glycogen metabolism problems. Next, laminitis naman, from the term itis, it's an inflammation of the hoof tissues. So wala siyang kinalaman sa calcium deficiency. And tetanus naman, tetanus is caused by a bacterial toxin called Clostridium tetani, leading to rigid muscle spasms and not weakness from low calcium. Okay, so it's a bacterial disease, tetanus. So that would be all for our rationalization for the muscular system. And thank you very much, everyone. Keep reviewing not just the correct answers, but also, of course, the reasons why the other options are wrong. And that is an important tip to mastering the licensure examination for agriculturists. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and see you in our next review session.